What a drag on a reel does is it slows the fish down. It wears him out. As the fish pulls, it's harder and harder as he pulls out line because there's pressure on the spool from turning. It's almost like we're running on a straight level and all of a sudden we come to a hill and the hill gets steeper and steeper. As it gets steeper and steeper, it gets so steep where we're so tired we can't run anymore, we stop. It's very similar in how a drag works. Each reel is made with a specific drag rating. This particular one may have a 12-pound drag rating. The bigger the reel, the stronger the drag. Why is that important? Because when you're fishing, the type of line you put on there, how much pressure you put on the fish, and how much pressure you put on the reel is how you're going to get that fish to the boat. Many drag washers are made of many different materials. Some of the materials that are made, and this is why I'll explain this to you because it's important when you're fishing to know what kind of drag washer and how much pressure you can put on that washer. This one's a nylon drag washer, put on a lot of inexpensive reels. It doesn't have to be greased, it's a dry drag, because there are dry drags and there's wet drags. Some drags have to be lubricated or greased. The next drag is a felt drag, which is really common. The felt drag has to be lubricated with a special drag grease. The next drag is a ceramic drag. This is totally ceramic. The next drag is a carbon fiber drag. The next drag is a Dartanium drag. And the next one is a cork drag. Each company will claim that their drag material disperses heat over the surface better than the other. It's all a personal preference. They all work pretty good, and you can try which one you like the best. The larger the surface area of a drag, the more heat gets dispersed and usually the smoother it is. Some drags, the inertia of starting them up are harder than other drag washers. Something to include when you're fishing, if you buy a reel that has a drag rating of 8 pounds, and that's the max on it, and you're fishing and so when you tighten this down as tight as it goes, 8 pounds is the maximum that drag will pull. If that fish continues to run towards the tree or a mangrove or toward a wreck and reef, and you grab the reel and stop the spool, you have to realize that that drag is built to the components and metals inside this reel. So if you do that, there's a good chance that you're going to warp, bend, or explode the gears and metals inside the reel, so you'll ruin it. People don't realize you don't need a lot of drag for a fish. An 8-pound drag is a lot. There's one reel that has over 66 pounds of drag that's made by a company. There's no human that could actually hold that reel if they had it tightened to 66 pounds of drag. Because with the 66 pounds of drag, that's pulled straight from the reel. When the rod bends, it's the equivalent of double that drag. So it's really, really hard to hold. When you buy a system from a reel, you can ask the tackle shop or the employee what is the maximum drag on that reel, so you know what fish you're going to fish for and you can match that drag to the type of fishing you're going to do.